Gentlemen, how we doing? Are you good? I said, are you good? That's what I'm talking about. What's up, folks? My name is Josh. Hey, if we haven't met yet, hello! All right, it's great to meet you. Up here today, I got the one, the only Tony B. And it is Mr. Jamie with Sharon at Sea. And folks, we are at your service. Welcome to the Tech Talk. So one of the topics that we get asked a lot is, hey, how did you do that shot? Or how did you edit that clip? Or hey, I want to start a YouTube channel. What kind of camera do you use? Folks, look no further. This is the conversation for that. So by raise of hands, who was at the Q&A this morning? Wow, holy crap. Are we sailing with all these people? Oh my God. Hey, it was great to see you all there. We got a fantastic photo. Should I show them the photo? I don't know if you guys can see it or not. Check this out. Look at that photo, y'all. Look at that. This is what it, you probably can't see it unless you're in the front two rows, but this is what it looked like from us. All of you guys out there, give yourselves a round of applause. Yeah, look at that. That's what it looked like for us. That was the view. Yeah, so we just looked out and saw a bunch of eyeballs and cameras and eyeballs, okay? I don't know what there was more of, eyeballs or cameras. All right, so what we're going to do it in the same format. So if you have a question, there's no bagat today. Instead, you just throw that hand up for me, okay? And I'll come to you, we'll read your question, and then go with our answers, yeah? Does that sound good, fellas? Yeah.
More tech than I do. Looking over here at Mr. McClure. All right. There's a lot of tech going on.
Hey, Jason, what's up, ladies and gentlemen? Jason from ECC. He made it. Thank goodness. We had just called security to see if you jumped. So I'm glad that you didn't, okay? So Jason, we just kind of let them know we're gonna, kind of do it like a Q&A, and if anybody has something that's worked for them or they want to know something that's worked for us. So who's going first? Who's got the first question? All right, over here. All right, sir. So what is your name? And what's your question?
Hi, my name is Stuart Taylor from Vancouver, BC. So I'm considering going live streaming and having multiple people perhaps be guests on the screen with me, and I'm just wondering what kind of software I should be looking for, something easy to use, or what do you guys use?
All right, that's a great question. I think, Tony B, you got to take that one, baby, because Tony is an expert at live streaming.
Expert, that's a lofty compliment. I know that, especially during the pandemic, StreamYards became very popular, and that's, so the way live streaming works in two ways. You can have your own live streaming software that you would run on your computer. So I use a software called Ecamm, and that's local to my computer, and then it pushes the thing up to YouTube. But sometimes that's not the easiest way to deal with it, and there's other services like StreamYard that lives in the cloud. And so it's going to connect to your computer, and I find that those are really good for interview type scenarios. You have a little less control about how you set your streams up, and they're getting a little better than that, but it's also really affordable. And I know a lot of people out here, I don't know, does anybody use StreamYard for their live stream? Yeah, so it's very popular, right? And it's easy to do interviews, and there's really no big financial commitment. So I would look into StreamYards, and then I'm sure there's a lot of stuff on YouTube that talks about it. So.
Yeah, and so one other thing that I have is also a free option. This one takes a little finagling, but I like the results of it because, like Tony said, with StreamYard, it's very restrictive, and you don't have too much play with it. It works great for bringing people in, but what I found that works, and I actually did it with Mama Hookham and Peter when I would do them on my live streams, is Skype. So you use a combination of, it's called OBS, or Open Broadcast Software. It's a free download, and then you, through lots of YouTube tutorials and how-tos, you're able to link Skype and get that to play inside of OBS. So whenever I would do my live streams and Mama Hook would be in there, or any guest, that's what it is. They're just on a Skype call, and the OBS software into the software.
So what Josh is talking about is a lot of us started with OBS. That is a completely free solution. So if you don't want to spend any money at all, OBS, but that is a lot of elbow grease too. I mean, that's a lot. So I mean, you got to be into it. So if you want something where you can just go and start, I would look at the service, because those services. Anybody know what Streamlabs cost?
Streamlabs is free. Streamlabs does have a free option.
Okay, yeah. So and that you can bring as many people in as you want.
I think up to 12.
Yeah. So that's. Yeah.
So you gotta have that duck.
Yeah, you got that.
Oh yeah. So if you want to get past the branding, I guess. Yeah. Yeah, it's just wild now with the rise of remote work and stuff during the pandemic. A lot of companies went with this streaming software, so it's really it's really an easy thing, and I would recommend it. A good way, like if you want to get view time on your channel, right? So it depends what your goals are, but if you're trying to strive toward getting that 1,000 or 4,000 watch hours, that kind of thing, a nice 1 hour stream that people are engaged in and watching, that'll help move that number up, opposed to trying to make a bunch of 3-minute videos, that kind of thing. So it just depends what your goal is and where you're at in the journey, but streaming is a good way to do it. It's also a really great way to build community, so it's good that way.
I'm a little old school. I use OBS. I still use OBS, but if you've ever watched our live stream, it's rare and almost never that we bring anyone else into it. It's so much extra work to do, and sometimes you don't always get what you think you're going to get out of it. You can bring in somebody else to be on your stream. A smaller channel can bring in a larger channel, and with the hopes that you're going to get an extra 100 people watching. Well, that doesn't always happen. You may only just get a couple extra people, and maybe you get more people watching on the replay later. But for us, we do OBS, and then if I want to bring somebody in, I've done it before using Zoom, and then I have to use like a second monitor. Then you have to size up the Zoom window, and then you can dive into the whole thing of if you're doing green screen. And if you want to set up a scene where it looks like the two of you are in the same room together, then you got to have a green screen for you, a green screen for the other person. Then you got to size up each person about the same size, so it looks like it's a little more natural. And then there's a lot more work to it. So you just got to think: do I want to go through all this, then potentially have a delay on the sound and something not going right when I click go live, or do I just want to say, hey Sharon, it's just you and me tonight, and let's just talk to the people out there. So that's one of the tricky things. I never asked you, Tony. I thought you would just blow me off. You'd be like, sorry, dude. I mean, after I ruined your life in air hockey, I figured you would.
Yeah, I don't really have much to add on that other than we live stream just a couple of times maybe a year. We probably should do more of it. I just don't do it for whatever reason. And when I do it, I'll just take my Canon R6. I download some software off of the Canon website. I think it's the utility. It is. Yeah, the EOS utility, just so that I can use my camera and my microphone. I'll hook up an external microphone to my computer via USB and try to give it the best quality we can. But that's about all I'll do when we do it. Just try to give a little bit better audio and visual quality for it. But that's about all I'll do, because we just don't do it very much, do we, hon? Live stream? Yeah. Oh! Double fisting!
Ladies and gentlemen, Elisa with EECC bringing in the drinks. How about that? I don't know if that is safe for your heart, sir. You need to. No, that was a great question. I hope that answered it. In short, you can do very simple with live streaming. You can also, as Jamie mentioned, be extremely complex. And of course, the more complex you get with anything, the more chance it is for it to mess up, and like he said, audio being off and things like that. So we that's a good point. I don't know if you do this, but typically before I do a live stream, like we'll do even a test live stream, right? So like I'll make an unlisted link on YouTube that only I can see or who I want to see, and we'll just go through and test everything. So a live stream for us often is not just turn on the turn on the computer and hit go. You know, it's usually a 4 hour process, you know, before of scheduling it, making the thumbnail, the description, you know, figuring out what you're going to talk about, if there's any images or anything like that you want to throw in. So it can be a lengthy thing, or it could not. So does that answer your question, yeah?
Yeah.
Great. All right. Anybody else? Who's next? What do we got? Anybody in the back? We can ask about what the camera is best, what software. Where at? Right. Ah, I see her. All right. I'm coming to you, love. Hold on. I'm gonna get my steps in today. All right. What's your name and your question, please?
My name is Sharon. It's about drones. I was in Iceland. You can use drones almost everywhere, but in America it's a bit more complicated. So anybody that's used drones for your videos, can you comment about that?
Drones. Ah, my favorite. Drones, and more drones. So, Tony, don't have a drone?
I own a drone.
You own a drone? Okay.
I bought it before. So I'm not really in the drone conversation, but my drone story is I had to have one, right? So when we started in 2017, Casey Neistat was drone and everything, right? It's like, oh, we all gotta have a drone. I would tell Jay, like, we gotta have a drone. And so we finally pulled the trigger and bought a drone before we went on our first Princess cruise. And very specifically, princesses don't bring a drone on board. So I got the drone, and then when I couldn't take it on Princess, I'm like, okay. And so I never took it anywhere. So I just have a drone that I've flown around my neighborhood. So these guys have done a lot more with drones. And every time I talk about buying something new, Jenny B seemed like it was a good purchase.
Yeah, you know, I got a little drone, DJI Spark. I use it. I've been wanting to upgrade for quite some time now, but just haven't done it. But the little Spark works great. It's small enough and compact enough where I can put it in my suitcase, and it's only been flagged one time, and they took it, put it to guest services, and then I had to get it before I got off the ship. But oh Jesus, I don't remember. Honey, which cruise line was that? Pride of America. That's which one it was. But other than that, I haven't had any problems. I take it out to port. A lot of times you're not able to fly it at port, but I'm just kind of the person that would rather ask for forgiveness than permission. You know, I'll just go hide behind the bush and send that bad boy up, get the footage. You know, that's what it's really all about for me. I've only been caught like 3 times. But it makes the videos look really cool. Yeah.
All right, so I mean, I used to see a lot of great drone footage, and I said I want to get into that. I want to check it out. So I got the Mavic Mini at first, right? It's a very small drone. It's under 256 grams, so you don't have to register it. Because if you buy a drone that's over that weight at that size, you have to register it with the FAA, and then in order to fly it, you have to pass some basic tests. And if we're being totally honest here in this room, if you want to use the video and post it on YouTube and monetize it, you have to be licensed. Okay, you have to go down to a place in your town, you have to go through the testing, you have to be totally licensed. So that's an important part of that and something don't forget. Now the reality is, I don't know if, you know, a smaller channel that's not a monster size probably doesn't have to worry too much about that, unless you piss somebody off and they want to call you out on it and try to get you in trouble. I've seen larger channels that have talked about they flew it in state parks and things, and people, you know, told on them and they got fined and stuff. So you just gotta, you know, it's all about the risk and the reward. But after using the Mini a lot, but every time we went to a port, I'd be like, I want to fly, but oh, there's a wind. And with a smaller drone, that wind will come through, just whisk that thing away. So then I got an Air 2, a little bit heavier. That thing will fly through most anything. So that's what I use a lot now. And you were talking about, like, the cruise ships will say you can't bring it. The reality is when you have a smaller drone where the arms will fold in, it really doesn't look much bigger than a large cell phone when they're looking at it, you know, in your suitcase. So quite often it goes in and comes out pretty easily. You know, they're really going to see something that the arms don't fold and it's got a big box that you're carrying on. Those things get flagged really easily. So only 1 or 2 cruise lines will hold it and keep it, and usually you can request it to, you know, go into port and fly it. But just make sure you know the rules. And the reality is, just ask somebody. We went to Roatan to a resort there, and there was a guard, and I said, hey man, can we fly this? And he said, yeah, no problem. You know, but I've been in a port and asked somebody, and he said, no, you can't do it here. So, you know, just ask if you can, and then you'll find out if it's really cool to fly it. And the reality is, like you said, sometimes you just, you know, once you get, you know, 50 feet above the ground, no one knows what's going on. It's that first zzz that everyone, you know, looks over and says, what's that thing? So going up is easy, coming down is a little trickier. But I don't know, a lot of guys just like to put little clips of drone, you know, like a second here and a second there in a video. I like to put in something that's a whole sequence of drone shots, you know, a couple of seconds each one, so people can really get a feel for what it looks like from above. And I think it can really add to your video and you know, give you a better view of what you're, you know, where you are and what you're looking at.
Yeah, I think.
So that's an example. So we were we're in Grand Turk, and at first I walked all the way out of the Grand Turk place to try to fly, and I was getting some restrictions because it's not too far from an airport. But sometimes you can override the restriction, take responsibility for your actions, and they'll let you fly. And then there was another dude there that I talked to who was and he had a drone, and he literally just was in Margaritaville right at his chair in the pool and flew it. And I may or may not have had a couple of beers in me at this point. And I said, you know what, I think we can do that too. So, you know, so we just flew it up and flew it out, and I'm not sure if some of the videos I made could have got me in trouble in the long run, but some of them were pretty cool. You know, the shot when you're going over the ship is a great money shot. It looks fantastic. As long as you're not interfering or causing a safety risk, then, you know, maybe you get away with it.
Yeah, I think, you know, the thing with drones, if you use it right, I think it could enhance your video, right? Oftentimes, when we're doing, you know, this here or even this here, it's a very closed-in, tight shot, right? You're not, unless, I mean, even if you're using a wide-angle lens, right? You're seeing here. And a drone allows you to really pull that entire view back, and you get this wide open view of exactly where you're at and what the island looks like, or maybe, you know, what the shore excursion that you're on, the kind of a different perspective of it that you otherwise wouldn't be able to get. But like these guys have said, that comes with its own challenges and restrictions oftentimes in these, especially in the Caribbean, these small islands. I guess, I don't know if it was on purpose or by accident, but they put the airport right next to the cruise port. And so, like, St. Thomas is a great example of that. St. Thomas, where Royal Caribbean and Celebrity docks, like, you're on the ship, on the Lido deck, and you look up, there's a plane 250 feet above you, right? And I think that's where, for us, like, you have to have common sense come in and say, you know what, that would be really stupid to fly right there, right? And so then, like, I know for me, I did it anyway.
Today's video is brought to you today by Positive Ear. You hate being on that cruise and all you hear is negative comments from people? Well, Positive Ear will filter out all those negatives. The only thing you can hear is positive things. You know, it's only $19.99. Just pay for shipping and get the second free.
Device for the DJI drones that syncs to your cell phone, right? And so you, it'll come up and it'll tell you you're in a restricted zone, and you basically have to take responsibility and acknowledge that if you cause a plane crash right now, that you are going to be liable for that plane crash. And DJI holds that stuff, you know, on file. And happy to say I haven't caused a plane crash. Have you caused a plane crash, Jamie? He says not yet, folks. But no, typically when that happens, and when, you know, like, I recognize that, oh my God, I'm a lot closer to an airport than I want to be, we'll bring that sucker back. At the end of the day, like I said at the beginning, we're trying to get, you know, a different perspective, not cause an accident. So I think, you know, drones are great as long as they're used responsibly, kind of like alcohol, right? So I would treat it just the same.
So just to add, whenever it got flagged coming back on, so I got off of Pride America with it, but when I got ready to come back on it, they were like, and it was the first time they had ever confiscated it, you cannot bring this off port. Well, they took it, and I says, well, I went down to guest services and talked to security and the people at guest services, and I asked them, I said, look, you know, when I get ready to get off port, can I just give you my name and you'll give me the drone back and I can take it off and do what I got to do and then bring it back on and give it back to you? And they said, yeah. So that was totally cool. So they confiscated it, but when it was port day and I was ready to get off, they would give it to me. I'd have to just give them my name. They'd give me a little ticket, get my drone back, I take it off, do what I had to do, get back on, give it back to him, give him the ticket. And that was that. And but like he said, just use common sense, you know? Yeah. And hide really good.
And do not fly it on the ship. Do not fly it on the ship. There's never on the ship. Yes. So, next question over here.
Hi, I'm Mark from Tampa, Florida.
Hi, Mark.
Hi. What? Yeah, the cameras. When is it good to use a regular camera and a 360 camera?
I don't, for the people in the back, so he says, as far as cameras, when is it appropriate or good to use a regular camera, and when is it appropriate to use a 360 camera? Okay, so.
Yeah, so I dabbled with the 360. Don dabbled with the 360 before. I think we saw Sherry with Cruise Tips TV was some of the first people that we saw. And it would give you this drone type shot. Now the interesting thing with the 360 camera is it's not as easy. It's the easiest camera to use. You turn it on and you stick it on a stick and it captures everything. But the challenge is to get usable footage or footage that you like, you have to jump into the editing software and you're framing every shot that you're going to use. So that's a little bit of a challenge, but once you get that down on some level, it really opens up a lot for you, especially if you're by yourself. You can actually see yourself in the shot if you hold the camera in the right place. To me, it's a stylistic kind of thing. I've experimented, so it comes like, most of them come like a 4-foot selfie stick, and that gives you a full top-down thing, but an interesting perspective is maybe halfway of that, because then you can kind of see the face, see your face, or there's some great videos. This guy, I think his name's Ben Carson, he's out of Australia, and he's a 360 guy, and I think I watched a video like 15, angles for your 360 camera. Like he'll hold it behind him so it looks like he has a follow shot. And then I like kind of the warp perspective Picasso type stuff. I know not everybody likes that. It's just the way my brain kind of works. And so I kind of like those real twisted reality type shots. I like the fact that you have the freedom to make that kind of thing. But the other thing is it does make a nice wide linear shot. To what Josh was saying, sometimes our cameras are not wide enough to really get a great feeling of where you're at. So I like the 360 for that perspective. And the interesting thing, like from a tech point of it, is the 360 cameras, they're more than 4K, but they spread that around the 360. So sometimes you're only getting almost a less than high quality HD 1080p image out of it. And so with the latest versions of the Insta360, they're starting to upgrade that resolution. So it depends if you're somebody that loves to shoot in 4K in your phone or your regular camera, you're gonna struggle a little bit with what you get out of the 360 camera, but I honestly think that the 360 camera should be in everybody's tool bag. I've tried shooting whole videos and showing whole videos with that to mixed results. I've liked it artistically, but not everybody's liked the outcome. But I think for interesting shots where you can be in a church somewhere in Colombia and you can see the full majesty of it. Yeah, I think it's really cool. But yeah, if I was, it would probably be like the third camera for me, right? Like I still like having a GoPro. I like maybe the fourth camera, right? So the camera that you're going to use the most, that you can reach the quickest, that you can take an image with, should be your number one camera. For most of us, I think that's our mobile devices, that's our phone, and the modern cameras have really great cameras. And then you might want to have an action camera like a GoPro. To me, I would go 360 after that, and big camera, it's tough. Like you got to have a commitment to the big camera, right? Like so you got to be. I'm going to carry this thing around, and that comes with its own challenges. And then if you want to go to the next level, have a gimbal. So it's the thing you're really trying to reduce the friction in your creative process, right? So you want to figure out what's going to get you the quickest to capturing something interesting without the least amount of friction. So I think it's going to make the camera decision for everybody, but I can tell you, and I believe this, that everybody that decides to carry a big camera around, we've all carried a big camera around, you're making a commitment to add a little more friction into your process for the trade-off of getting better footage, right? And so you have to decide where that is for you, and you don't want that decision to go with a bigger camera for better footage to make you create less, right? So to me, that's the balancing point. But do you got anybody else on 360?
Yeah, I've never used one. Has anybody got one here? I got a little bit. Yeah. Let's see it. I've seen
You got it with you? Ooh, it's show and tell time, folks.
One more.
Oh boy. Well, if you're auctioning them off, we'll take them all. Yep, so this is the 360. This is the Insta 360. So see, basically it's got a lens on this side, a lens on this side, and so it's capturing, you know, both sides at the same time. And then like Tony mentioned, you go back in that software.
It's 180 degrees, it's 185 degrees.
Wow.
So then it's 10 degrees of overlap.
Right.
Which is why they always say you should put the selfie stick out, because that stitch line, which is in between every lens on all four sides, if you hold it here, this is an equal distance so that your hand doesn't become a nub on the end of your arm, and so it doesn't look awkward. And so there's challenges where people will take this and they'll stick it in their mouth, and so their face looks all contorted and it's this like teeth, horse face looking thing. And Insta360 encourages the creative process. And one thing that I love about this, I almost challenge that this would be, and I respect your opinion, but I almost think this should be before a GoPro. Waterproof, out of the box, just like a GoPro is, and it has the option to do one lens and not both, so you have the capacity to say, I want, it's in 2K or 2.5K, it's like 1440, a little less, but it's basically a flat image that's a 16 by 9, and you can say, I want to use this lens, I want to use the other lens. And a quick anecdote, I have a video of my daughter taking her first steps with this 360 camera, sitting in the living room of my parents' house that they no longer own. And so I can sit at home and put on my VR headset and watch my daughter take her steps, look around my parents' living room and watch my daughter take her first steps. This is, yes, for content, it is amazing. But for family memories in the future of technology at this Tech Talk, the future of technology, we're all going to have headsets and things like that. This is a family heirloom type camera, just for the family memories. I mean, Christmas morning, we all had our dad set up a tripod in the corner with a giant VHS, and it says Happy Holidays across the whole screen. You're like, I can't even see anything, Dad. It's 6 hours of nothing. This, you sit in the corner, you push record. I mean, it is an absolute game changer. In time lapses and star lapse modes, you can see all of this.
It can do all of them. And so with the Insta360, so that's the one you have, right, Tony? So I'm gonna throw a third perspective in here. I've got the it's GoPro, the Max. Yes. So the GoPro Max, so what I like about the Insta360, and these are the things that like you want to know when you're thinking about this one versus that one. So you mentioned going underwater, right, and how it's no problem. The GoPro Max, forget it. I just learned this last week. I thought I was doing something wrong. And finally, because like I've had the Max for, I don't know, maybe 6-8 months, taking on 2 cruises. And it was great. Like it has the stitching, so you can do the 360 or you can do just one lens or the other. But I'm like, now make that one make sense to me. Am I cursed with blurriness or what's the deal here? And so I got to researching, and so I don't know if we can see that one more time, but on underwater cameras or cameras that are meant to go underwater, it's gonna be hard for you guys to see. There's 2 lenses, okay? So there's an outer lens and then there's an inner lens, right? And so by having those 2 lenses, it basically does like a fishbowl effect, right? And so when you go under the water, there's the salt, it's small particles or I don't know, fish poop, whatever, is mixed up in the water. The camera's basically trying to focus on that if there's not 2 lenses, right? So by having 2 lenses on the Insta360, when he goes under the water, it's shooting through that second lens so that that second lens is acting as a barrier, so his image isn't blurry. For the Max, there's only 1 lens. So that could be a big deal for you. Interestingly enough though, the Max is still waterproof. Why? I don't know, but it is. And she should never take it underwater. It's pointless. So. SD cards, yeah. So I would say I usually do no less than 64, but I know I'm probably even low on that. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I try to get 128. I can't remember the speed though. That's the the more important question is the speed for video. And I always have to Google that, like when I'm getting ready to purchase. I'm like, oh, okay, I have this kind of camera. What speed do I need to capture 4K or something like? I don't remember that off the top of my head. I don't know if you guys know what that is, but yes, the size is, you know, just whatever you want to do, you know. And the interesting thing about size is like how do you want to manage your storage? Like, you know, you want to copy stuff off and save it somewhere, and you know, it's a lot easier to copy a 64 off than a 128. Yeah. 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 Yeah, it's so like right now I think in my GoPro I've got a 128 gig card in it, and shooting at 4K I'm getting 2 hours and 40 minutes, so you get a pretty good long walk there on that. And then I think it's about the same on the Instant 360. But I love the Instant 360 for the walk, and you know, it's I do agree with your point. It captures like no. It's so once you get the editing down, it's a very almost want to use it all the time kind of camera. Yeah.
How's the audio?
Built-in audio is not great.
Audio is such a big deal for me.
Right.
But you can hook a mic to it.
Yeah, it has 360-degree audio. There's 4 microphones on it. The problem is if there's a whisper of a wind, it's gone.
There's no wind filter on it. That's another very important thing here in the Caribbean especially is wind muffs and wind filters, those fuzzy little cats on top of all of our cameras. Yeah.
But you have to be careful because it sees everything. You have to find something that fits inside that stitch line. So they have specific brackets for like your Rode wireless codes and stuff that would go with it. You just have to be careful.
Yeah, the interesting thing about the selfie stick that he was showing, and I don't know if everybody recognizes that, but when he had that camera up on the selfie stick, because that selfie stick sits on the stitch line, the software in the camera knows to remove it. So that's why the camera looks like it's floating. So yeah, if you're going to add anything else to it, like a light or a mic, you have to get some sort of bracket that puts that component on the stitch line so it doesn't show up in the shot. But it's very doable. Yeah.
I've been curious about it. I haven't added that to ours, but I've seen, you know, stuff that he's done and other people have done it, and at the point where you get aesthetically up there, you get that visual. It's weird.
Yeah.
But it's very stylistic, and you can do some really cool things.
Right. So that's a great question about 360. Great question. Like most of these topics, y'all, we could have a whole separate topic about. I mean, it could get really in depth. I see a hand back here at the bar. Y'all, yes, get my steps in. I was sitting down too long. Hold on, let me do a couple stretches real quick. Okay. Hi, what's your name?
Margot, and what's your question?
My question is music. Where do you get it? How should you use it? When should you use it? Thank you.
Great question. So she said music for everybody. Hey, everybody in the back. Hey, I know y'all are back here. We're gonna get you. I'm coming back next, okay? So her question was about music. So where do we get it? Yeah, you can get your in the moment stuff, and then when you want to talk about that or give an update or something, you find somewhere quiet. That was a great question. I know there was a hand in the back here. Let me come see my flicker. I'm on the move again. Let me see my friends way back here. Back here? Okay. Oh my goodness. Guys, I'm on the Norwegian getaway now. All right, what's your name and what's your question?
Melody Inglesby from Blind Cruisers. I just purchased the Zoom, I can't remember the whole Zoom Pro podcasting equipment, portable podcasting equipment. And my question, it's a two-part question. One, where do you guys get like your intro music from? And two, has anybody used the portable equipment, and is it easy? We're still trying to figure out how to use it, and just wondering, is it easy to work or?
All right, so 2 parts to that. Number one, where do we get our intro music? So I know for me, it's again Epidemic Sounds. Is that the same for?
As far as intro music, I mean, Epidemic has like this complete library of all kind of different things. Moods, you can pick from any mood that you want. You know, if you're coming down a slide and you got the GoPro. You want some fast-paced rockin' music to kind of fit the mood, but it also has like intro music, stings that are like 10 seconds, 5 seconds, 6 seconds. I mean, you can plug in just about anything you want for.
Guys, please help me out by subscribing, liking, and commenting. Thank you.